Mercedes-Benz has a history of leading technology advances, particularly with its top-end saloons, so this one needs to be good. The EQS is the company's halo EV and its first bespoke electric car platform, but how does it stack up against the Porsche Taycan Cross Turismo, the established king of the sports luxury EVs?
Well, let's get something clear. These two are very different cars. The Porsche Taycan is no doubt a very sports-focused car, while the Mercedes EQS is, well, almost more chauffeur car-like. But if you're lucky enough to have £100,000 and you're looking for a very premium, very lovely long-range EV that's practical yet lovely to drive, well, you're going to find yourself looking at these two in and around various other rivals, including things like the Tesla Model S and SUV alternatives like the BMW iX. But before we go into the pros and cons of these two, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the CarGurus UK YouTube channel and turn on your notifications because we've got loads of plans for some great videos and we don't want you to miss any of them.
The EQS is available with two powertrains. The range-topping Mercedes AMG 53 gets four-wheel drive and 657 brake horsepower, but we've got the EQS 450 Plus here, which starts at £100,000, gets 329 brake horsepower and a single electric motor powering the rear wheels for a WLTP range of up to 453 miles. The Porsche Taycan is also available in a variety of specs, including a saloon body rather than the shooting brake Cross Turismo that we have here, as well as various powertrains including a base rear-wheel drive model, running right up to the four-wheel drive Turbo S with its sub 3 second to 62 miles per hour performance. Here, our Porsche Taycan 4S Cross Turismo represents a sweet spot in the range, costing from under £90,000 with four-wheel drive, 483 brake horsepower and a WLTP range of up to 281 miles.
The Mercedes EQS has got quite a distinctive aerodynamic shape to its silhouette, but that sort of slightly humped sort of rear line that it's got does mean, well, I don't know if it's pretty, but it does mean that you've got this enormous hatchback boot opening and a really huge 610 litre boot that you will easily get two full-size suitcases in. Plus you've got a bit of cable storage down there, which is really useful, and those rear seats do fold down if you need them to. There is no storage space in the nose of the EQS though, that's the only thing. Now, the Taycan Cross Turismo is, of course, also a hatchback, but you do get a slightly smaller boot, it has to be said, 446 litres in here, and you can see straight away that it's quite a narrow boot by comparison to the Mercedes as well. But I have to say it's still going to be good enough, I think, for most family motorists, and you do get storage space in the nose of the Taycan, which is perfect for your cables.
The EQS is undoubtedly the more comfortable car here for rear passengers. There's loads of leg and headroom on the three-person rear bench, and the standard glass roof makes it feel really light and airy. It is a true limousine space, even if you don't add the various luxury comfort and infotainment upgrades that are available. There is less space in the back seats of the Porsche Taycan, but it will still be comfortable for taller adults and will be a good family car. You have to pay a little extra to be able to seat three in the back, although Porsche's description of the layout as a 4+1 doesn't promise much for the comfort of a middle occupant.
I do think that the interior of the EQS is just sublime in here. I have to say I do really like the exclusive luxury trim that we've got, this yacht-inspired deck finish of this wood. I do think that looks pretty cool. I would avoid the white carpets that, as you may be able to see, are already pretty mucky in this car. But the rest of it, absolutely exquisitely finished. The ambient lighting is superb. Everything about it just looks really cool. And of course, the star of this car is the touchscreen.
The digital driver's readout and a 12.3-inch central screen with nav, live charger info, CarPlay and more is standard. But we have the optional hyperscreen system that brings augmented sat-nav, fingerprint and face recognition, and an even bigger screen that takes up the entire dashboard and incorporates a third touchscreen for the passenger. Think of it like a phone, where you have to take time to set it up how you want it, and with a bit of familiarity, the system is surprisingly easy to use. Even the touch-sensitive pads on the steering wheel are actually quite intuitive, while the graphics on the screen are second to none. One of our favourite features is that you can easily dim or turn off the passenger and central touchscreen.
It does feel a little more driver-focused in the Taycan, as you'd expect it to, really. I think it's a really lovely interior, and I would absolutely say that the perceived finish, the general quality of the interior in here is absolutely on a par with the EQS. It feels superbly finished in here. This beautiful sort of frameless curved screen behind the steering wheel, quite straightforward sort of touchscreen system that you get in the dash here. It's quite a minimalist layout, I suppose, but I just think it's absolutely lovely. I also really like the fact that Porsche offers a leather-free interior in the Taycan, which you can't get in the EQS. It is cow or nothing in the Mercedes. The Porsche is nowhere near as well equipped as the EQS as standard. Yes, you do get electric seat adjustment, you get heated seats, you get a reversing camera as well. But Porsche is notorious for its options, and I'm afraid that is very much the case with the 4S. Essentially, you need to be considering that you're going to spend £10,000 or more on options before you've got the car that you are likely to want. Everything from the panoramic roof to probably the 14-way adjustable seat is worth adding as well, I would say. Adaptive cruise control is a remarkably expensive option. You even have to pay extra for a Type 2 charging cable, which is absolutely outrageous. But I will forgive Porsche just because at least the Taycan has got a much lower list price than the Mercedes by, more than £10,000, so that does go a long way to making up for it.
And you do get all of the infotainment features that you'd expect as standard, including this big central touchscreen with nav, online functions and live charger search, and wireless Apple CarPlay. You can also pay extra for a passenger screen, not to mention a head-up display, Burmester sound system and more.
Basically, if you tick enough options boxes, well, you can have a similar sort of spec and equipment level to a top spec Mercedes EQS, and because of the lower list price in the Taycan, you're going to have actually quite a similar transaction price.
The Porsche wins the battle of the charging times. Plug into a 350 kilowatt ultra-rapid charging station, and its peak rate of 270 kilowatts means that you'll get a 100-mile top-up in close to 5 minutes, or an 80% top-up of the 83.7 kilowatt-hour usable battery capacity is possible in around 20 minutes. The Mercedes 200 kilowatt charging will do the 100-mile top-up in around 10 minutes, while an ultra-rapid charger will get the huge 107.8 kilowatt-hour usable battery up to 80% in around about 30 minutes. A 7 kilowatt home wall box will take over 16 hours to fully charge the Mercedes, or more like 13 hours for the Porsche Taycan 4S.
There's an aspect of expectations with the EQS, I think. Here, obviously, in the company of the Porsche Taycan, which is a natural rival if you're looking for a big four-door luxury EV. I think you might expect the EQS to be, well, a bit more sporting than it is, because it definitely feels closer to a big luxury limo kind of car than it does to the Porsche's brand of very driver-focused sports GT. So you get adaptive air suspension all round on the EQS. You also get four-wheel steer as standard, which is great because it makes this car really manoeuvrable despite its size. It's really nice around town, this car, because it rides beautifully, turns into corners, or at low speeds manoeuvring, really good. And that does also translate to really quite satisfying kind of higher speed stuff out on country roads like we are here. Naturally, you get your drive modes, everything sort of gets a bit tauter when you stick it into sport, and you've got plenty of acceleration, 0 to 62 in 6.2 seconds, so, well, it all sounds a bit whatever, really, next to the Taycan, doesn't it? But it feels more than powerful enough to be quite good fun, and because it's got really nice, neutral, oily feeling, precise steering. It's just a really happy medium between that kind of wafty limo-like feel and something closer to, I'd argue, more like a kind of big saloon, more like an E-Class even, really, than something like the Taycan that feels very sports GT. So what I'm trying to say here, I think, is just that this is very much more along the lines of a luxury, comfort-oriented car. And that's great. That may well be exactly what you expect. It's really, really good at that, and yet it is still also quite satisfying on the right road. Your brake regen is available 3 different modes, so strong regen, normal recuperation, which is interestingly what it defaults to whenever you start the car, or you can turn it off, and there is also an adaptive mode, which means that it will sense when there's a car in front or even a junction or a change in speed limit, and it will increase or reduce the brake regen accordingly. So that's all very clever, and I like the fact that you can toggle through it on the steering wheel pedals. That's really good. I wish that the brake pedal itself had slightly better feel, because it can feel a bit hard to modulate, because you need really heavy brake force to get it to stop hard, this car. It's surprising. Nice and smooth initially, so it's really easy to stop slowly around town, but if you want to stop quickly, you have to really stand on the brake pedal, which I'm not sure you'd necessarily expect. Generally speaking, the EQS is one of those cars that
despite being incredibly complicated and also really very heavy. This is a 2.5-ton car, basically, because of the size of that battery. It's just such an easy car to drive. It's instantly quite reassuring because it's really planted and the steering's so lovely and light and easy to predict, and everything feels surprisingly intuitive for a car that you might think would be quite intimidating given the amount of tech in it and this kind of stuff. It is just as unflappable and brilliant a tourer as you'd expect. I mean, you could get in this, you could cross the continent, especially with that range, you could very easily, and it would be, without a shadow of a doubt, you'd get out the other end, no problem at all. You've even got, if you do get stressed out or if you start getting an achy back, you've got your fancy settings here. Hey Mercedes, I'm stressed.
Maybe the program will help you enjoy it. I will turn it on.
Massages your back, soothes your brow. It's all very nice. You could say it's a bit of a gimmick too, but I have to say the massage seat in this thing is fantastic. Really, really good. So look, it is what it is. It's nowhere near as good as the Taycan to drive. It just isn't. It's much heavier and it feels it. It's much more of a limo style car, and that's fine. If that's what you want, that's what the EQS does, and it is brilliant at it. The 22-inch wheels on our Mercedes drops the official range to 407 miles, but in practice we've been seeing around 300 miles to a charge, even in winter weather and with a lot of motorway miles, so we'd expect to see more like 350 miles and more in the summer. The Taycan's official range also drops a huge amount to 241 miles if you go for the big wheels, and you should expect a real-world range of between 150 and 220 depending on conditions. As you'd expect, the Porsche does feel just a bit more kind of keyed in than the Mercedes. It is designed to be more of a sports car, and you feel that. I don't just mean in faster driving, just leaving the car park. You can feel that in the Taycan. Everything feels immediately kind of tauter and a bit more direct. And that does show in the performance as well. So you get 483 brake horsepower in the Taycan 4S or 563 in overboost. And you do feel that kick as well when it goes into overboost. It's that mid-range urgency feels really dramatic next to the EQS, and the EQS is hardly slow. Every time I drive the Taycan 4S, I know the turbo's lovely, I just don't know why you'd need it, frankly. One of the reasons that I thought the Cross Turismo might be quite a good match for the EQS is because I know that it rides really well, and that does show in this test car as well. So the Cross Turismo is a bit softer than the standard Taycan. It's really impressive, the ride comfort, for a car that's also really well tied down and handles so neatly, and with real kind of sports car precision. It's really impressive refinement, comfort, and just generally a lovely car to tour in, as well as to kind of tackle a really good road. It's a really, really fantastic blend on that front. I mean, it's really hard to fault. Flat out say it, this is the best EV, bar none, to drive. It just is. And I include the EQS in that and some spectacular other electric vehicles. This is just wonderful. In terms of the brake feel, in terms of the steering response, everything is just exactly precise how you want it. I do have a few quibbles. It still annoys me that you can't control the brake regen on the steering wheel. You have to go through the screen, which is annoying. I quite like the electric sports sound. It's always kind of spaceshipy in EVs, isn't it? But Porsche's is particularly, well, it sounds like a sports spaceship, doesn't it, I suppose, appropriately. I love it. I think it's really fun. And you can turn it off because it is a bit noisy sometimes. The biggest problem with the Taycan is just, again, those options, because so much stuff is optional dynamically. You've got your dynamic chassis control, which is the active anti-roll bars for better body control and slightly better handling. You've got four-wheel steering, you've got your sport chrono pack, you've got so many options that can really change how the car drives. And ultimately, most people are going to want to add pretty much all of it. Again, we come back to the fact that the Taycan is that much cheaper than the EQS that you can afford to add most of that in order to get the best handling Taycan that you possibly can have. I wouldn't worry about the carbon ceramic brakes because the standard brakes are more than powerful enough and have really good feel. But other than that, I think everything else is probably worth adding if you can afford to. And even then, yes, the Taycan does become quite an expensive car, but it is still absolutely spectacular. So there you have it, two very disparate cars. They're actually even more different in practice than I thought they might be, looking at the sort of similarities on paper. They do ultimately do a similar thing, but as we've said from the very beginning, the Porsche is undoubtedly a sports car, while the EQS is pretty much a limo. In essence then, these are both stunning electric tourers, but the Porsche is a sports GT with the added benefit of being a sublime tourer, while the Mercedes EQS is a long-range limo with a dash of fun to be had when you want it. Both are the best at their game, and if you love driving then there is no question that the Taycan is the one to go for, but for the additional space, driving range and super luxury finish that the Mercedes EQS offers for much the same price, by any objective measure, it's the Mercedes that wins here. Don't forget to head to cargurus.co.uk for a whole host of fantastic used cars, and while you're here, do like the video, subscribe to the CarGurus UK YouTube channel, and turn on your notifications so that you don't miss any of our videos.